definitely. It was challenging to figure out and view everyone's perspective in this situation. And initially, because witnessing my youngest son's seizures, I felt could be traumatic for my oldest. I I would ask my oldest to go to his room or go play or do something so that I could take care of Nathan. Or my husband would distract my oldest and remove him from the area so that I can take care of Nathan. Um, but we made a point, my husband and I, we really made an effort to make sure that whenever Nathan had a seizure, that we always remained calm so that my oldest would not feel the anxiety or it, so that we could try to protect him from the trauma that this might make him feel or carry with him through his life. And also, we would have conversations with him and let him know that in life, sometimes things happen and we don't understand why they happen, but we have to do our very best to treat the situation the best that we can and overcome it and continue with life. And whether it's a seizure or anything else in life, that it's a testament to who you are on dealing with these situations in the best way that you can. And so that was my initial response, was to try to remove my oldest son from the situation. And then as he got a little bit older, because he's only 4 years older than Nathan. And so as he got a little bit older and he started asking me questions, I remember one day in the car, he asked me, he said, "Mom, is Nathan special?" And I kind of got choked up at the question, and I thought, well, how observant is he? And I said, "Yes, buddy, he is." I said, what brings on that question? And he said, well, in my class this year, the teacher says that another little boy in his class is also special. He said, and I noticed that, he needs help doing some things, and I try to help him. And I just thought, he's growing up so much and he's learning, but I can hear the compassion in his voice and the curiosity. And so I decided to talk to him more about it. I figured that he was ready to talk more about Nathan and epilepsy. And so we did. My husband and I both started talking to him more about seizures and what we were doing. He knew that he was on medication. And so we really wanted to try to make it, we wanted to help him understand that this was our family unit and we're all in this together and we're going to help each other through everything. And even though we don't understand the seizures or when they're going to happen, that we're just going to always remain calm and try to work through the situation and help stop the seizures. And so another thing we also did for our oldest was we made time for him for special activities, just one-on-one. So our oldest and my husband and I. So we would go to the movies with just him. We would go to the theme parks with just him. And so we really tried to put effort and make sure that he knew that even though Nathan required a lot of time and energy from us as parents, that he was also our number one. And we would take time for him and do those extra activities, like going to dinner, just him, so that he could talk to us freely, and hopefully we would just have a relationship with him. and without, the in a new environment, a fun environment, and just letting him know that we're here for him and support him as well. I said, well, what about I heard about diet therapy. What do you think about diet therapy? I don't really know much about it. And he said, oh no. He would have to be having more than 100 seizures a day for us to explore diet therapy. And in that moment, my gut said to me, this was not right. I don't know what the right answer is in this moment. I don't have the education, but I know that that answer was not right for Nathan. I just looked at my son in the bed, just unconscious, and I thought, what is the difference of the quality of his life if he's just laying here in the bed? He would be laying here in the bed if he was having 100 seizures a day. So at this point where we are, why can't we explore other options? So I just thought, I don't know what the right answer is. I know that answer was not the right answer. So if he wasn't going to allow us to explore diet therapy, I knew I had to find somebody who would. Initially, with the new neurologist, there was good support because I would visit in person. But then I needed somebody that was local, so I started looking again. And I went through several different neurologists. Um, it really takes time to establish, service with someone, and then go through a few visitations and get our testing done with them and listen to what they have to say, what their recommendations are. So it takes a little bit of time, but I was not afraid to change providers because I needed to find somebody that I was comfortable with, but also that I could see and have confidence that they had experience in what we were dealing with and had other patients that had success. One of my biggest frustrations with doctors is when they act like every day is a new day and everything that they learned yesterday just no longer exists, and they have no experience to draw on to give comfort to the families. Trust your intuition, your instincts, your love for your children, and you want to protect them and you want the best for them health-wise. Because there's not a lot of guidance out there sometimes. You meet the doctors that are not experienced in diet therapy. They may not be able to support you, but then the opposite is true. Sometimes there's wonderful doctors that you really like, you appreciate them, they seem helpful, but they lack experience. Do not settle for a doctor that you like because they may seem that they care and are really trying to be helpful. You really need to seek the experienced doctors with diet therapy, experienced nutritionists with diet therapy, because you need that experience. I've talked to people and they say, well, can you send me information so that I can share it with the doctors? And yes, I do share the studies that are already published, but I don't recommend that you take the information to your neurologist because they lack the experience. The nutritionists lack the experience. And you don't have time as a parent to teach the doctors about how to support you. You need to find the experienced neurologists and nutritionists so they can help guide you on the journey, because it is a challenging journey. Learning about seizure triggers can be very empowering because you're going to learn more about what to look for. And for my son, it was seizure triggers for him was illness, fever, dehydration, lack of sleep. Those were the most common seizure triggers for him at the time. And once I started learning about that and tracking it and just becoming aware on a daily basis, I became very strict on his nightly routine. We had our nightly Epsom salt bath, relaxing, but he had to be in bed at, before 9 o'clock every evening, because I knew as long as he got his rest, the brain can recover and he would do well. Watching his diet, making sure he's hydrated, not just with water, with proper electrolytes and things like that, then I was really empowered, and I could make a difference in his life, which is what I think all parents want to do. Journal the food, journal the sleep patterns, journal all the possible triggers. Make sure you're tracking that data so that you know, but also so that you can communicate it to your medical team so that they can truly understand and have a really good idea of what's happening, so that they can make sure you're either on the right medication or maybe adjust the diet. It's very challenging having a child with special needs in school in general. And thankfully, I've been very happy with the support that we receive in school. But I think it's also because I'm very direct and very involved in the IEP process, and I'm very clear about what I want for him, what I expect for him, and I try to do my very best to explain about diet therapy, explain about him, but thankfully we have had very good people a part of his school education, and they have been very receptive and understanding about implementing the best guidelines for his IEP. So I'm truly grateful for that process, because I know sometimes it is very, very challenging for families, and it can become a fight, which I think is worth fighting for. When we go out on vacation, it just takes a little, preparation ahead of time. I will take some items that I know that will travel well. And, usually nowadays, every hotel has like a small refrigerator. And so I know that I can keep some items in there. So I always have on hand, the little travel size avocado guacamoles and little snacks and things like that. And usually at the hotel, we're never far from a grocery store. So it just takes a little bit of preparation now. And the longer you do it, the easier it becomes, like with most things. And so, yeah, I would say that definitely take vacations with your family, have a great time. Just take that little extra time and do the prep work for it, because it's super worth it. Because my fear, we didn't travel for a long time because my fear was, if he did have a seizure and it escalated into something very serious, it would really just ruin the whole entire trip. And so it wasn't until I felt comfortable with the diet and learned how to prep properly that now we can do it, and it's a lot easier. We've adjusted the diet several times for Nathan. I adjust the diet if he's sick. So it's been a challenging, winding journey. But that's life, right? For all of us, we're all trying to maneuver the best that we can. But I would say, do not give up on diet. When you have things like acid reflux, when you have constipation issues, when you have GI issues, it is so important to address those issues through diet. Sometimes people get overwhelmed with thinking diet therapy, the ketogenic diet, have to measure my food. Please don't get overwhelmed by it. Just take it one day at a time, take it one meal at a time, one snack at a time. If you mess up, it's okay. Just get right back on it.